Hello guys, hope you're good. How you doing today? This is Saffron Media, where we give you trending, exciting, reliable and authentic happenings. And of course, we have the best and the most beautiful and happenings in Nigeria and more, especially in the areas of politics. And we all know that the Edo State House of Assembly has recently been having some serious issues about factionalization of the House of Assembly, and lawmakers have, been factionalized and divided themselves to factions that is not favorable to the state. And yes, there's something about this very faction, because of course the faction of the APC are actually the ones that have their inauguration and all of that in a private building, and it is also not in the constitution that any legal or lawful person should be done outside the House of Assembly. And this has actually raised an eyebrow, that most people say that the swearing in of the Edo lawmakers elect Edo State House of Assembly is illegal. Yes, a lot of people said it's illegal because it is not done in the House of Assembly. Yes, we'll look at reasons why this is actually illegal and why it must not continue, and it is even a bad omen if things continue like this in our nation, Nigeria. Anyway, guys, I'll bring you details of this shortly, but before then, if you haven't subscribed, please ensure you hit the subscribe button right away, and also give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell, because that is the only way you get notified anytime we drop a new video. Okay, guys, without further ado and without wasting much of your time, let us see why it is illegal for these lawmakers to have their swearing in and inauguration in a private building. Yes, it says when the Anambra State House of Assembly sat in a hotel in Asaba, Delta State on November 2nd, 2006, there they unlawfully impeached the former governor, Peter Obi. Governor Obi went to court and challenged impeachment, and the Supreme Court ruled that the only place lawfully approved to carry out legislative business was the State House of Assembly complex. The apex court went ahead to declare the purported impeachment null and void and of no consequence. The Anambra State Chief Judge was ordered to quickly swear Peter Obi back to office to complete his term of office. The show of shame that happened in Edo State, where 14 lawmakers elect, not yet inaugurated, abandoned Edo State House of Assembly complex, sat in a private residence and impeached the Edo State Speaker, and allegedly elected a new Speaker for the Edo State House of Assembly is evil, illegal, barbaric, unacceptable, and legislative rascality taken too far by very desperate politicians. If Nigeria were government agencies to do their jobs, those lawmaker-elects would have long been arrested by police and consequently charged to court to serve as deterrence to others in the future. It is even surprising that the Attorney General of the Federation allegedly directed the police to provide security for the lawmakers-elect, whose seats have been declared vacant by the House. But then, what do I know? In 2018, a particular senator accompanied some miscreants to the hallowed chambers of the state and stole the mace. Was there any punishment for those fingered? No. This is why lawlessness seems to be the order of the day in our dear country today. Everything is politics and everything is politicized. But of course, we believe we are growing as a nation, and a lot of these things should change and should not be repeating history right here in the faces of the children, where we see that they were growing and they have become men and women of today that are supposed to be the pride of the nation. Imagine that the Anambra State House of Assembly went to a hotel. In Nigerian constitution, is that supposed to happen? Anambra State left the whole of Anambra and went to Asaba to hold a meeting in a hotel and impeached the governor right there. In fact, it wasn't done in their own state. It was taken to Delta State, where they impeached the governor. And the governor had to challenge it. Imagine if the president was not responsible at that time. You can imagine that the governor would have long been gone, because they want to support people of their party. But unfortunately, for the lawmakers. Peter Obi went to court and challenged impeachment, and the Supreme Court ruled that the only place lawfully approved to carry out legislative business was the State House of Assembly complex. But I keep wondering why in the Edo State election, no one has called these lawmakers to order that any decision taken out of the House of Assembly complex is termed as illegal, because this keeps growing and growing, and the election is just a few weeks away, and nobody has been able to settle these issues. They still see them as legal lawmakers. They still see them, they still pass laws and do what they want. But in the Constitution, is there anywhere they said it is allowed for lawmakers to hold a meeting outside the state complex or outside the House of Representatives or even the Senate House? Imagine in Nigeria today, if another faction decide to say, okay, they are going to set up another Senate House, that they are not working with the Senate President, how would that sound in the ears of every other countries or even neighboring countries that are looking up to Nigeria? These things should be corrected and should not continue like this, because Nigeria is a developing nation. And when you're developing, you have a lot of things to learn, not trying to go back. The Edo State is one example, because this is not the first time things like this are happening. It's just history repeating itself over and over again in different states. I believe politicians and even, these people should have understood better ways of fighting than settling for things that are illegal, and at the end of the day, sometimes they get, they are approved to go ahead to do such things. Sometimes if the law does not permit them, or if they are not lucky enough, that is when they get, a repercussion for what they did. But I believe Nigeria as a nation, even the president should have called these people to order, because the election is just few weeks away. And if the house is not put in order, it's still going to affect whoever wins the election at the end of the day. Because even if you say PDP wins the election, this fight will still continue until, the governor decides to do one or two things that, because he has been there, he knows some of those people become, powerless. But even if the APC should win, then you will now see that the PDP factions would say they are the lawful lawmakers that they would not leave. So you can imagine if all of this keeps going on and on and on, it is not good for the country. So these things should be settled amicably, and those lawmakers should understand that whatever they are doing is illegal and they should accept it that way. So guys, that is it. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have questions, have reservation, drop it in the comment section, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Do have a pleasant time.